Mafia 3 takes place in 1968. You're Lincoln Clay, a decorated US soldier with a dark past, returning from Vietnam to your hometown of New Bordeaux, the game's equivalent of New Orleans. Given that you aren't white and it's 1960s America, your welcome isn't as warm or rousing as you think it should be, with the game playing up the racial divide of the time. This is further compounded by the fact that your gang isn't the best of shape, requiring your assistance to get by. A couple of missions and a few firefights later, you find yourself betrayed and left for dead. With such a setup, you find yourself tasked with conquering every inch of New Bordeaux in a quest for revenge. In order to do so, you'll need to eliminate existing mob bosses and appoint your own by gunning, stabbing, and running over anyone who comes in your way. When you have areas under your control, you'll collect kickbacks, assist your crew, and soak in some incredibly well-presented atmosphere. From a robust list of music representing the era to stunning voice acting, you can't fault Mafia 3's stellar presentation. Despite the simple overarching narrative, the plot itself is riddled with intrigue. This is coupled with slick moment-to-moment gameplay that simply works as it should. Pulling off headshots with a variety of weapons is satisfying, while skulking from cover to cover feels responsive, as does driving the game's many vehicles. The core gameplay of Mafia 3 is surprisingly polished to a fine sheen, making it an absolute treat to play, a necessity given the game's mission structure. Over the course of 30 hours of Mafia 3, you'll find yourself trying to take over every part of the city. Be it wrecking brothels or laying siege at distilleries concocting moonshine, you essentially find yourself in combat or slickly infiltrating the game's many locales in order to get key gang members on your side or simply dispose of them. Do enough damage and the game allows you to hunt down the underboss in charge of the area. These missions take place in varied environments, including abandoned theme parks, swamps, or high-octane chases across New Bordeaux. They add a welcome change of pace and are punctuated with gorgeous cutscenes that take the story forward. Combined with the aforementioned production values, Mafia 3 would be near perfect from a presentation standpoint, except for one glaring flaw. It's technically inept. During our time with the game, we were subject to low-resolution graphics and dollops of pop-in to the point where entire buildings magically appeared in front of us as we drove through a seemingly empty street. The less said about the PC version, the better. Hopefully, developer Hangar 13 fixes these concerns at the earliest. In addition to this, it doesn't help that Mafia 3 suffers from poor UI scaling. This results in button prompts being too small and blurry in the game's many tutorial screens. This turned introductions to sections such as driving, stealth, and shooting into guessing games. In spite of its low visual fidelity and creaky performance, Mafia 3 is a competent game. It may not have the scope and scale of its contemporaries, but it bests them where it counts, with solid gameplay mechanics and a fantastic story. Well worth a purchase if you're hankering for a film noir inspired romp in 1960s America. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at Gadgets360.